What's up, everyone? Greg Helbeck here. Welcome back to another REI weekly lesson. I'm your host, Greg Helbeck, even though this is not a podcast. This is a video. If you are new to this channel, I'm Greg, and I bought well over 100 houses, and I've learned a lot of lessons over my 6 years of doing this business full time. So my goal on these videos is to provide as much value as possible. So if you're watching this on YouTube, if you can like the video and subscribe, it'd mean a lot to me. My goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers in the next 90 days. So if you get value, if you can like the video, like the video and then subscribe, it'd be great. Today I'm going to talk about when to close on a piece of real estate, right? So there's a lot of people out there that are interested in wholesaling houses, and I do a lot of wholesaling. I just did 2 wholesale deals this week, and we got a bunch of wholesale deals in the pipeline. But at the end of the day, if you're just a wholesaler, that's your only strategy, you not only are going to leave money on the table, but you're going to be inefficient when it comes to maximizing a lot of your deals. So I'm going to talk on this video about really when to close on properties, right? So at the end of the day, it's the real answer is it depends. But for example, if you're dealing with a seller and the numbers make sense, like they are selling you the property at a really good price that you can make money on, but if access is hard, so that's obviously time number 1 to close. If you have a hard time getting access, but you can get a good price, then you can obviously just buy the property yourself, wait for the seller to leave, and then resell it on the MLS, which is the multiple listing service, to a retail buyer or an investor for top dollar. So when to close, scenario number 1 is when you can't get access or when it's really hard to get access. We get deals all the time where the numbers make sense and we're going to make money on them, but for some reason we just cannot get inside, or it's going to be hard to get buyers inside. So we just decide to close on them and do that ourselves. So that's scenario number 1, when it's hard to get access. Number 2, this is another good tip that really will make you a lot of money, is when you have such a good deal, like it is a home run of home runs, and you don't want to potentially have the wholesale deal screw it up, which means like maybe you put it out to a buyer and they see that you're making $100,000, which happens in my market, and the buyer's jealous and they try to go behind the seller and try to steal the deal from you, and then you got to get into a lawsuit. Like if you have such a good deal that's a monster home run, and you don't want to run the risk of a buyer trying to flake out, or even the seller trying to flake out if they find out you're wholesaling it, your best bet is to just close on that deal with private money, your own money, or hard money. Because at the end of the day, if you don't want to risk a potential 6-figure profit by trying to wholesale it, not saying that happens that much. Honestly, it doesn't happen that much, but it does happen. Just close on it yourself, right? Just get on title, and once you're on title, you're in full control of that property. And if you even wanted to, you could close on the property yourself, and you don't even have to put it on the MLS. You can just put it out to your buyer's list as the owner to maybe avoid paying a commission if you want to do that. But honestly, at the end of the day, if you put it on the MLS, you're going to make more money after you pay the commission, because the most amount of people are going to see it. So at the end of the day, obviously, when you have a really good deal and you don't want to potentially have a wholesale deal screw it up, close on it yourself, and that way you'll be able to not have to worry about someone going behind your back. So those are the 2 main ways you should close on properties. And then the third, I guess, piece of advice I would give on this is, let's say you've done a bunch of wholesale deals and you've made some money, and this is exactly kind of what I did in my journey as a real estate investor, is like the first probably 20 deals were all wholesale deals. Like I did not close on a single property. They were assignments, or they were, double escrows as they call it, which is basically when you buy the house for 5 minutes and resell it. But the first 20 deals I did were all wholesale deals, but I started building up a decent nest egg of savings. So I had a house that came up, and that was, it wasn't the first property I closed on, but it was the first property, I think, in New York I closed on. But anyway, the deal made a lot of sense. I had a good amount of liquidity. And I said, you know what? I probably could wholesale this for a good profit, but let me just buy this thing myself and make even more money. So if you've done a lot of deals, or if you've done a decent amount of deals, or you just have money in the bank or access to money, if you just want to try it out, preferably after you wholesale, because the reason you want to wholesale at the beginning is because you want to understand how transactions work. You want to understand what numbers make sense. You want to understand why you can wholesale it, or maybe why you can't wholesale it, depending on the numbers. So if you just want to kind of not roll the dice, but if you want to swing the bat and go have some experience yourself by taking title to properties, obviously that's another good reason to close. If you want to just, try out taking a deal down, right? They call it in real estate, the real estate business, taking a deal down, which means closing on it. So if you've done some wholesales and you have some money saved up and you're ready to move on to the next level by buying real estate, and I always say this, no one's a real estate investor until they get on title, right? The second you get on title, you're officially a real estate investor. If you're just assigning contracts and you've only assigned contracts in your career, you're really not a real estate investor. You're more of a paper shuffler, and you can be a very rich paper shuffler. But I know some people who've wholesaled tons of houses and they never gotten on title. So technically, in my opinion, they have not really real estate investors, but who really gives a shit? If you're making money, you're making money. I know a lot of wholesalers that make more money than rehabbers and this, that, and the other. So if you want to just try it out yourself and experiment with the deal, that could be another good reason to close on the property. So hopefully those 3 reasons were helpful. And at the end of the day, I want to share a story to wrap up the point. So let me just summarize the lessons real quick before I share the story. Number 1 is if it's hard to get access. Number 2 is if you don't want the deal to blow up because it's a huge deal. And number 3, if you have done enough deals or you've done some wholesale deals and you want to try out closing, those are 3 good reasons to close on a property instead of wholesale it. And let me share a story on me actually doing this. So I got involved in a deal. This was my first ever big deal. It was a 6-figure deal, and I locked the deal up in Rockland County, New York, and numbers were just a home run. It was just home run. And I said, you know what? Instead of trying to wholesale this thing and fucking around, let me just buy it myself. So I ended up buying the property. Did a little bit of a rehab. Probably put about $25,000 of my own money into this property, and I ended up reselling it on the MLS, and I made like $101,000 net to me after everything was accounted for, construction and all that kind of stuff. And it was a 6-figure payday, and that was the most money I've ever seen in my life at the time. And it changed my life, and it changed the way I viewed buying and selling properties, because I remember when I started, if you were to tell me I was going to do deals like that in my early 20s at the time, I would have said that is wild. So there's a lot of power in being able to close. And another big benefit on closing is when you close on the property, you're in full control of that asset. When you're wholesaling a deal, you might be technically in control of it via a contract, but you can still have shit go wrong and you could ultimately lose the deal. So when you close on property and you get on title, you are in full control. You're calling all the shots, and you are the real property owner. You're not just the contract holder anymore. And you can ultimately make more money, right? There's obviously going to be more risk. You got to have capital, right, or access to capital. But at the end of the day, it's a great thing if you do that. So hopefully you got value from this video. If you did, if you can like the video and subscribe to my channel, it'd mean a lot to me. And if you're in my market, if you're in the New York market, or if you're in the San Diego market, or if you're in Delaware, we're buying in Delaware now. If you want to JV with me, you want to split wholesale deals with me, or if you want to close on deals together with me, or if you're a wholesaler and you want to sell deals to me, hit me up. My email is greg@velocityhousebuyers.com. That's greg@velocityhousebuyers.com. Let's do some deals together, and I'll see you on the next video.